This is Zion Clark.
I grew up the first 17 years of my life in the foster care system, and I was raised with no mother and no father, bouncing around about 9-10 different homes throughout my entire life from the time I was born to the time I was 17. And during those times, I had dealt with a lot of abuse, a lot of suffering, a lot of hardships, a lot of trials, and a lot of tribulations.
If you are unfamiliar with this story, listen up.
What you're born with is what you're born with. You can't go back in time and change things. You gotta keep moving forward.
So how did Clark, 26, compile a 33-15 record in high school wrestling, an All-American at Kent State, a Guinness World Record holder, an Emmy winner, and as a recent pro in the world of mixed martial arts, winning his debut?
Pretty exciting round. All three judges scored about 30-27 for your winner by unanimous decision.
To understand his triumphs, we must understand the hardships.
I have came a long way from being the small little kid, malnourished kid that got bullied, to speaking in front of you. First couple homes, I mean, they weren't bad, but there's always that one thing happen that the foster care system would be like, okay, that parent is unfit to raise this child. Well, the way I saw it, I was like, oh, I'm getting ripped from another family. What's gonna happen now? And that happened for about 8 to 10 more foster homes. And some of those homes, you would think they would get better, but they would get worse.
He'd tell Forbes, being able to persevere and get through these times is a reminder to other people in life that remember there are better days ahead. Your best is yet to come.
I was in second grade. And the one foster lady, she threw a wooden chair at me and split my face up. I went to school, and I tried to tell them that she threw the chair at me. Not everybody believes a kid. I'm 8 years old. No one says anything, and then they call the mom. I go back home, and guess what? There'd be times I'd be locked in a room, maybe 2-3 days. Once a day, get a piece of bread and half a glass of water. That went on for a while. That's what I used to be. I used to be tiny, just like pretty much skin and bones.
The repository's Sharita M. Gaucher wrote Clark was born with caudal regression syndrome, meaning that the lower part of his spine never properly developed.
So what causes that?
A lot of drug abuse.
Is that really what causes it?
It could be at random, or it could be caused by drug abuse.
And was your mom on drugs?
Yep. Yeah, so when I was born with every party drug that was available back in the 90s.
Every party drug being like cocaine, I guess?
Yep. I had cocaine, Molly, meth, perks, Xans, all in my system. And I had what's that alcohol deficiency called?
Oh.
You know what I mean when a mother drinks? What's that called?
Fetal alcohol syndrome.
Yeah,
fetal alcohol syndrome.
Yeah, I have a little brother, and he was born with it too.
Which led to this.
Because I also had 2 surgeries right off rip when I was born. I have a giant scar on my stomach and a giant one going up my back.
Why? What kind of surgery?
One to remove one of my rib bones that was like impeding into my intestines, and then one to correct my spine on my back. I have these 2 tiny little pins in my back.
And this.
I didn't start walking until I was about 4.
I
used to just drag myself around 4 or 5 when I finally got enough strength to stand up. I was getting bullied in school. I was getting bullied in middle school. People don't stick up for me. People just let it happen. 'Cause, I'm the weird kid with no legs. I would go to school and I would cry as a kid. I would be terrified to go.
It was constant abuse from the home to the school, which led to Clark contemplating taking his own life at just 10 years old.
I suffered a lot of mental abuse, a lot of physical abuse, which I still have scars from to this day.
Clark would tell the story of another foster kid whose name was Hannah. She stuck up for him. She helped him. And he recalled that one morning when he was younger, an ambulance would pull up to the house and he didn't know what was going on and started asking questions. And he was told just to get on the school bus. He refused. He wanted to see what was happening inside the house, and what he would witness would change him. He saw Hannah pass away with his own eyes because her lungs were suffocating.
It's crazy for me to say this, but this other family, I don't want to say names because there's a big there's a whole bunch of big cases and a whole bunch of legal crap that went down. And this family, they actually got rid of me on my adoption day that they were supposed to adopt me.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a shocker, to say the least.
He'd jump from foster home to foster home, with troubling stories piling up, as he discussed on the Ordinary Athlete podcast. After going through the system over and over and over again, this angel, Kimberly Hawkins, took him in. He'd say, being scared for my life, most of my life is hard, and finding a loving mother like that helps me realize what my potential is. Saying I can be great and doing anything I want to in life really was the turning point. This would not come until he was 16 years old, but there were obstacles, of course.
I was really on a downward spiral. I kept having too many confrontations with the police. I kept running away from home. I would skip class. I would get suspended. I would get in-school suspension. It was just one thing after another. I remember the first time when I was living there, I got into some trouble with the police. And instead of taking me to jail, they, since I was a minor, they brought me back to my mom's house. And I'm thinking like, all right, well, I'm gonna just pack my bags, get ready to go, because this probably isn't gonna work. She's probably gonna freak out, scream at me, tell me that she's done, I gotta get out. And that's not what happened. It was so crazy because I still remember that day. I'm sitting in the back of the cop car in my driveway, in handcuffs, and I'm just sitting there like, man, this is it. And they came out to the car. They talked outside the car for about 15 minutes. I couldn't hear a word. And then I took the handcuffs off, and I went inside, and she sat me down, and she had a very serious talk, as all mothers should with their kids, especially when they're dealing with something like that. And instead of screaming and yelling at me, like, yeah, I got grounded for like 2 weeks. But
2 weeks sounds light.
Yeah, honestly. In my other homes, I was like on lockdown for months at a time. But man, she just like spoke to me calmly, and like I could feel like the love in her voice, even though she was upset. I think like that showed me at that moment, like, she really wanted what was best for me, and she really saw something in me that I still at the moment didn't see in myself. So after that day, I really had to do some soul searching. I started to think like, man, I want to see what happens if I really like try hard and try to like be a better version of myself.
One thing that stuck with him was wrestling. Gil Donahue, Zion's coach at Massillon Washington High School, told Spectrum News he lost almost 200 matches in a row, and still never ever gave up. And we developed a system on attacking a human being below his knees, and he became very, very good at it. This would lead to him hitting the gym, transforming his body into what it is today. After years of training, the American became a force to be reckoned with on the mat, where he regularly faced and beat fully abled athletes, wrote Ben Church. In high school, he would just miss out on making the Ohio School State Wrestling Championships. He was also a champion in track. Kent State came calling, and his coach, Dave Schlarb, would say Zion is one of the most coachable wrestlers I have ever coached. He has a can-do attitude that never wavers. He is a remarkable team player that is willing to do anything needed to help the team succeed. He would go on to be nationally ranked in the top 10. Another feat to add to the resume.
What would you say your mission is?
My mission is making change to the foster care system to help all the children across the U.S., making college funds for high schoolers that are in foster care, that are aging out of the system, that aren't getting adopted. I want to make it possible for these kids to live lives even if they don't have a family, so they can still make something of themselves and be something someday.
Currently, Zion holds 3 Guinness World Records: fastest to run on 2 hands, most diamond push-ups in 3 minutes, and highest box jump using hands. Aside from his MMA career, he is also training for the 2024 Paris Olympics. He has written a memoir, has a documentary on Netflix, and gives motivational speeches around the world.
What we do for the kids at the end of the day really matters. What we do now and how we talk to them the way we show them the right path, show them how that the grass can be green on both sides. It's just how you look at it and how you water it, how you take care of it. We show these kids from the get-go that everybody is different, but everybody should be loved the same. The world's going to change into a better place, and I think that's what they do in here.
While also being an activist for foster children. He would then say this to Fox 5. For me, this is my opportunity to give back to the foster care community. Not just give back to the actual systems, but setting up different funds, different grants, different ways to support these kids while they're in the system. And if they age out and they don't have that support system, I want to be able to give them something. If you can and are willing, please donate to Zion's GoFundMe to help support his efforts. Every cent is needed.
There's no reason for you to get up out of bed, make your bed, start your day off me, and to go out and chase after those dreams you want. Not even chase, but grind for it. What's limiting yourself from being the next big thing? Nothing. Because there is nothing that should limit you.